The ratings for this movie are all over the place, which I find to be surprising for a movie like this. I mean, we know that a lot of low-budget horror films just automatically usually get unfair ratings. And of course, with a lot of this I'm seeing right here, Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 17%. No surprise there. Metacritic was a little bit nicer, in a manner of speaking. They gave it 31%. Internet Movie Database gave it 52%. And among Google users, we have 72 to 74%. Usually the Google users are much nicer and much more open-minded than anybody from Rotten Tomatoes or Metacritic. So here's the Google synopsis, and then we'll get into the others. Laura is a popular college student who graciously accepts an online friend request from Marina, a young social outcast. To everyone's shock, Marina takes her own life after Laura decides to unfriend her. Soon, a disturbing and mysterious video appears on Laura's profile, and her contacts slowly dwindle. When her friends suddenly begin to die one by one, the frightened young woman must figure out a way to stop the carnage before it's too late. This movie came out in 2016. The budget on the movie is $10 million. The box office is $11 million. So they just made $1 million. Now the budget, to be exact, was $9.9 million. So technically, they made $1.1 million off of it. But still, I guess maybe from a business standpoint, any small gain is still better than any loss. So, I mean, it's better than them losing any money. I mean, it's better than, compared to if it was, hey, we budgeted $10 million and we only got, $9 million out of it. But hey, at least they got something. And here's the cast. We have Alycia, Debnam-Carey. She played Laura. Connor Paolo, I want to say that's how the name is pronounced. He played Kobe. William Moseley. Brit Morgan played Olivia. Liesl Ahlers played Marina. Brooke Markham played Isabel. Lee Revive played Marina Mills. Okay, maybe that's a young Marina Mills. Lee Revive played young Marina. And Liesl played teenage Marina, or young adult Marina. And Sean Marquette played Gustavo Garcia. Now, I thought there was something on here that showed how Common Sense Media broke down the movie. And as a matter of fact, yep, here it goes right here. So, community reviews, parents, kids. Now, I will say this was definitely, if you like the jump scares and you like a lot of jumpy scenes, this definitely was a movie for it. I gotta admit, it got me in at least one scene. Now, I'm not the type of person that's really like too jumpy, especially when it comes to movies and shows. But this one kind of did it a little better than a lot of movies, with some exceptions, like, say, a couple Insidious movies, especially like the first two Insidious movies. Common Sense Media breaks it down like this. In this movie, Laura is an incredibly popular college student with many friends, a new boyfriend, and an enormous social media following. Laura notices a strange new girl at school, Marina, and decides to accept her online friend invitation. Unfortunately, the lonely Marina takes things too far and starts stalking Laura. When Laura rebuffs her, Marina commits suicide, and the video of the event finds its way onto Laura's social media page. She tries to delete it, but the site mysteriously refuses to comply. Suddenly, her friends begin suffering weird, ghostly attacks and even dying all around her, with even more videos posted to her page. Laura's online friend count begins to drop, and she realizes that whoever or whatever is doing this wants to make her feel just as alone as Marina did. Now, is it any good? The horror movie begins with an intriguing idea, exploring the pitfalls of social media, but quickly succumbs to routine setups and payoffs typical of most uninspired ghost stories. Conversely, the thematically similar Unfriended, which was a good movie, I'll do a review of that another time, began with a less intriguing idea, but its execution was far more inspired and terrifying. As directed by Simon Verhoeven, let's just say Verhoeven. Friend request does incorporate some truly unhinged, disturbing artwork and animation, but it's never used for anything other than just being there. Mostly the movie consists of the unexpected jump scares, which they did a great job of doing that, plus attempts to solve the haunting by traveling to the place it all began. One character, a young man with a crush on Laura, goes crazy over his unrequited love, which seems like a serious stretch. And other than being friends and having a good time, there's nothing of substance to any of these characters. Fear the Walking Dead fans will be most disappointed seeing star Alycia Debnam-Carey taking such an ill-fated step down. Okay, I didn't know she was in that show. I didn't even know who she was at that point. So, but I mean, hey, but that's another thing. To make a side note, it's like, and this is what separates me from a lot of people too, is I don't consider that a step down. I mean, whether she actively chose to pursue a movie like this, or maybe she was approached by some director or producer or writer or whatever and said, hey, would you be willing to do this movie? And she said, yeah. And she just said, yeah, I'll do it. I don't exactly know what her salary was. I don't know what her salary was from Fear the Walking Dead. Maybe she got a few $100,000 more or a couple $1,000,000 more or whatever she gets paid doing this. I mean, who knows? It's probably helping build her name up and whatnot. So I don't consider it a step down. So, I mean, actors and actresses, they can act in pretty much whatever they want to. That's just my belief. Families can talk about the violence. How graphic is it? What is the impact of media violence on kids? Well, as I've always said, and I mention this in every single video that I do where I talk about horror films, especially slashers. I always talk about the Jason movies, the Freddy movies, the Scream movies, Halloween movies, Chucky movies, you know, and there's other horror film franchises I'd love to enjoy, you know, The Conjuring and Texas Chainsaw and Insidious and all that stuff. This stuff isn't for kids. So that's why they shouldn't be watching. There's a reason why I wasn't allowed to watch any of this stuff when I was a kid. And so what is the impact it has on it? Well, besides just scaring the living hell out of them and having them have nightmares for who knows how long. I mean, is there any way for me to like really finish that sentence? Like, I don't know what else. That's the impact that it has on them. It scares them and it makes them just scared of a lot of things, and they're just jumpy and they can't focus. And I don't know. That's just what I get out of that. Is the movie scary? Yeah, I can say on a scale of 1 to 10, the scariness of it was, I can give it about an 8. The overall movie, I would rate about it an 8, 8.5. And what's the appeal of scary movies? Well, I think it just helps keep the attention. I mean, most other movies, we know how every typical genre is, you know, the drama, the comedy, the action, whatever. But scary movies just kind of, they vary all over the place. You don't know who's going to die at any moment, or you don't know who's going to survive. You don't know who the killer is, and you don't know what the motive is. I mean, there's just so many different things to it. That's always been my appeal. That's why it appeals to me. So, as I said, the movie's available to watch on Tubi. And by the way, right quick, let me see what some of the Google reviews said about it. An average of 3. A 3-star said the movie was interesting and the CGI effects were really good, but the plot made no sense. It was kind of hilarious, though. There's a lot of stuff that's brought up that doesn't matter later in the movie, and when you discuss the movie later, you may get a few laughs out of it. We'll stop right there because he's got some spoilers below. The 5-star said, I love the storyline, plot, graphics, and how the theme song matches with the movies. Honestly, this is my favorite horror movie of all time. People who underrate this movie, I don't know if they expect too much or they're just used to boring horror movies. Since a long time ago, this is one of the best horror movies. I love it. For me, if you're going to go watch this movie, watch it with an open mind and don't compare it to other movies. Now, see, I think that's a good way of looking at it. So even if I didn't like the movie, I can say that's a fair point. Everything doesn't have to be compared to, oh, well, it's not like, you know, it's not like the first Nightmare on Elm Street. Well, that's totally different. It's not like the Scream movies. Well, again, it's totally different. It's not like Exorcist or The Omen. It's different. So all movies can't be compared to all movies. The 1-star says, I watched this in school with a bunch of my friends, and I didn't even flinch once. Okay, you did a little better than me. I gotta admit, I barely flinched the one time, the one jump scene I saw. Well, out of all the there was many jump scenes in there, but there was only one where I kind of just barely flinched, like, okay, just, wow. The plot of the movie is about a weird loner who doesn't have any friends. When a popular girl tries to befriend her, she accepts, but when the popular girl tries to take off the loner's hoodie, she starts haunting her by killing herself and recruiting a ghost. So the whole movie revolves around bad graphics and really badly timed jump scares. I disagree with that part. Some of those jump scares were actually pretty well timed. Even my grandma wouldn't get scared at this patheticness. I wasted 2 hours of my life watching this, I could have done something else instead. All right. So, again, it's on Tubi if you want to watch it. You don't even need an account with Tubi. You can just go on there, and it's free. Just watch it. There's ads. So, I'd say if you really are a fan of jump scares and you're really a fan of the psychological thrillers and the horrific dramas and things like that, I'd say this is a good watch. I got plenty more movies to come, so just like and subscribe.